What up, Scoop family? Excited to be here tonight. As you can tell by our title, we are excited about some news talking about our good old friends up north, and a couple cases related to them and the punishment that's going to be handed out. But we're excited to have everybody in the chat tonight. Appreciate you guys showing up. Before we get rolling with it, man, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, jump in the comment section if you're not in there. We're a family here on the Scoop channel. So get in there, get to know some people. We're excited, man. But Nevada, before we dive into this thing, man, how you doing tonight?
I'm doing great. B Moses is at an Ohio State event tonight, so he was like, "Hey, can I get the pinch hitter?" And we're back at the 7:10 time slot too, which is near and dear to my heart. So I'm excited about the show. Excited to be here with you.
Yeah, for sure. It's an exciting topic as well. Going back and forth on this thing for quite some time now. And it's kind of funny how, some news will pop up and everybody's attention will get focused back on what Scum did. And then just because news doesn't come out and people stop talking about it, everybody thinks the punishments are going to be less severe or something because of that. Well, we heard about some news today that's a stark reminder of what the NCAA is doing, right? Them trying to make their mark, right? Because they're losing some power in some areas. So they got to make up for that in other areas. Well, here recently, Nevada, let us know about the details going on with Memphis and what that could possibly mean for our good old buddies up north.
Well, look, I've always said on this, and I've been advised by my NCAA contact to really keep an eye on the NCAA punishments as kind of a roadmap for what was going to happen with Michigan. And this is what I've been saying for the past year. And I think people, some people, especially the delusional folks up north, we're looking at some of the legal setbacks that the NCAA had in the areas of NIL, player compensation, and the like, and trying to draw some sort of parallel to the fact that the NCAA did not have power over enforcement management. And it's nothing could be further from the truth. It's been a long series of decisions. And the latest one, and then there's another one that you brought up that we'll talk about later, but the latest one was Memphis, where you had basically an advisor. I'm not exactly sure whether it was they did a couple of tests for somebody, or they arranged for a couple of tests to be done or something for a player, and the Memphis got hit with vacated wins, a loss of 1% of their budget, their $30,000 fine, pretty significant fine considering the program, and a 10-year show cause for the advisor that was doing this. And you're talking about benefits that were totally like about $500 or something like that. So this would seemingly fall in line with another, if you needed another data point, if you're looking at that thing and you're kind of going, okay, how is the NCAA conducting themselves in these matters? Is the NCAA, being lenient? Are they being, draconian? Or are they ignoring it? What's going on with it? Um, this was just another slam fest by the NCAA on Memphis, over things that, when you compare it to the importance of a 3-year, 53 game illegal surveillance, advanced scouting violation to a school that was non-compliant, non-cooperative, and a repeat offender. It's just, I mean, it's mind-boggling to think that anybody could feel like the NCAA is not going to go after Michigan. Um, I don't think it could be any more clear as to what's happening. Like I said, if you needed one more data point on your trend line, you're like, look, I believe for like the last 10 things they've handed down, but I need point 11 just to be sure that this is really going to happen. Well, here was point 11. Here was another one, but a 10-year show cause. I mean, 10 years. So they're not playing. They are handing out multi-year show causes for stuff way less than this. They're vacating wins for things that are seemingly not that big of a deal, and they're fining schools portions of their budget based upon what was the method of the transgression. And again, this was with a Memphis program that cooperated and self-reported. So like you literally checked none of the boxes for Michigan on this thing. And yeah, when I read this, I was like, oh my goodness, if Michigan fans are not terrified already, then they should. I mean, if they've got any sort of self-awareness and are looking at in terms of what's going on right now, the NCAA is not handing out apologies. They're not handing out fruit baskets. They're handing out hammers left and right. And why Michigan would think that they're somehow going to escape this trend of doom that's coming out of the NCAA, I don't know, Devin, but that's how I read it. Did you read it any differently than I did today?
No, I didn't. Yeah, I was about to ask you. So what you're telling me is that this saving grace that the scum fans are saying, well, Sharon Moore, the 2 game suspension for the third and fourth game, you don't think that's going to cut it? That's not going to feel the NCAA's thirst for blood when it comes to their violations? You don't think it's going to? That's not enough for the NCAA, you don't think?
Well, the prima facie evidence that that's not enough is the fact that this went to full hearing. If that was enough, right, there wouldn't have been a full hearing. It would have just been enough, and they would have they would have parted, and they would have taken the Mrs. Fields cookies and left, and maybe some souvenir mugs from the NCAA office or whatever it is. But no, they ended up going to full hearing, and I, that is only because there is a disconnect between the NCAA and the institution regarding punishment. That's the only reason you go to full hearing. Nobody goes to full hearing just for funsies, just for laughs, just to do it. Like you go to full hearing because there's a disconnect. And I'm telling you, with the fan base right now, when this comes down, yeah, the signs were there. They are screaming out at you as loud as they possibly can. It's flashing yellow, like, guys, beware, this is happening. It's happening to everybody else. Why do you think that you're different? Why do you think that you're somehow unique? That that your brand, the Michigan brand, is so important in NCAA. Like Tennessee's not important. I mean, Tennessee's every bit as significant in the college football landscape as Michigan is. There's without. I don't even think it's even an argument right there. And, Tennessee's one of the stalwarts in the SEC, and and they got whacked. So I don't see any path where Michigan does not get whacked on this. And but again, if I was looking at these things, the NCAA was handing out stuff, and they're like, okay, they just did this thing for Memphis, and they gave them $5,000 fine and 1 year of probation or whatever. To me, that would be a data point. That'd be something we would discuss. We're like, hey, the NCAA is really going lenient on folks right now, but every decision seems like it's harder and harsher and harsher than the other one. And you had another one that you mentioned in terms of Fordham that you had pulled up that
Yeah.
seemingly followed as another one that was a pretty draconian decision. I don't know if you want to discuss that one.
Yeah, I do. But first, I just want, I got this pulled up here. I got the NCAA's page pulled up. I want to talk about Memphis for a little bit long here, just to drill this in. I want to start by saying, so you got 2 groups here. You got a group of people that think that nothing serious is going to happen to scum. Then you got a group of people like us here on the Scoop channel that know the hammer is coming. When we say hammer, we're talking vacated wins and all that. Now, the details of it, we can't act like we know, but we know it's going to be a hammer. Nevada has been saying that for quite some time now. Well, okay, so if you look at their end of it, why are they thinking this? Right? There's no evidence backing that up. That's just a bunch of opinions, right, from their fans. Okay, so let's look at our side of it. We know the hammer is coming. What evidence do we have? Tennessee, FSU, Oklahoma State, Memphis now, Fordham, which I'm going to get into here in a minute. Like there is just such precedent here, or not precedent, but you know what I'm saying? There's such evidence to show that the NCAA does not play games. When you look here, here's what they violated. They violated the honesty and sportsmanship policy. Did scum do that? Absolutely. Unethical conduct? Yes. Prohibited conduct? Yes. Yes. General rule, they got responsibility to cooperate and failure to cooperate all on this. And this is all over 2 softball athletes helping one male basketball player pass a couple tests and a couple assignments. They paid these 2 softball players $550 to help it. And because of that $550 and a couple tests that this basketball player got to pass, they got $30,000 worth of fines, 1% of their combined men's basketball and softball budgets gone, a 10-year show cause for the coach that was responsible for this, and all records vacated that any of those players were involved on. Did you guys hear what I just said this was for? That's it. There's nothing more to this story. There's not a bunch of a backfill in this thing. So everything point towards what you got, the evidence that the NCAA has of what Scum did. Okay. I mean, they have 20 of these incidents in their one incident, right? This was one incident involving three players, right? Scum's incident, the whole coaching staff, the team. I mean, you see the string of webs that fans out from this. And we're also seeing examples of this right here, what the NCAA is doing for infractions regarding this. And I think, chat, let me know what you think. A scale of 1 to 10, 10 being what Scum did, where does this infraction fit with what they did? Okay. And because of this, they're handing out 10-year show causes. Now, let me go on to the next one real fast. Fordham, back in April, the NCAA handed out a punishment for the Fordham basketball and football program, and they cooperated fully. Right now, here's what happened. Fordham was offering recruits tickets to like the Knicks games and a couple other NBA games. That's what they did. They offered them and they bought some recruits some tickets. Well, here's what they got for that, and they fully cooperated. They made it a big deal in the article to say they fully cooperated. Listen to this. They vacated 41 wins, 3 years of probation, $35,000 fine, 2% of the men's basketball budget gone, a 2-year show cause for the head coach of the men's basketball program, and a 3-year show cause for the director of basketball. Now, a couple of codes they violated, the ethics code and the head coach responsibilities code. Okay, so that's that code where we don't need to argue whether Jim Harbaugh knew or not. It was his job to know. So either way you look there, he's screwed. But the head coach got asked about it, right? And this is the head coach of their program. And he said the head coach felt like the NCAA was extremely aggressive for such minor violations. So, Nevada, anything else to add? I mean, these are just so many examples of our side and what we know is going to happen being backed up on their side of nothing's going to happen. There's nothing there. It's just a bunch of opinion.
Well, yeah, I mean, you gave a really expansive list. All I add one more school, Arizona State, onto that list. I mean, there was just like so many schools, and they've all involved vacated wins, postseason bans, multi-year show cause. I mean, this has been bad, and I think if you took every one of the schools that we talked about and you added up all their transgressions, it's not anywhere near what Michigan did. I mean, what Michigan did as a repeat offender. I mean, Sharon Moore was already on probation when he destroyed evidence. He destroyed evidence in an NCAA investigation while already on probation. I mean, I don't, given what this poor academic advisor got, 10-year show cause. I mean, what's Sharon Moore going to get? I mean, I don't know. I've said we've had shows before about does Sharon Moore survive? I just don't see a path forward where Sharon Moore is the head coach at Michigan, um, given what they. I mean, it would be so out of character. I mean, let's take all the facts that we know. Like I said, none of the opinions, just all the facts of what's happened to Tennessee and Arizona State and Florida State, all these schools, and then say the NCAA comes and goes, this Michigan thing. I know we went to the Big Ten in the middle of the season, never done that before. In the middle of an investigation, went to the school to inform them. Never done that before. Um, the Big Ten, went to the executive committee, suspended Harbaugh. They've gone through this thing's gone to full hearing. Despite everybody else negotiates a settlement and cooperates, we're going to go lenient on Michigan. Why does that not make any sense to me? That just does not, it doesn't compute. None of that makes any sense. And I yeah, like I said, it's none of us know. We've talked about this before. We're not on the committee in terms of the enforcement. We're not on the jury, as it were. So we're not sitting there in terms of knowing. But we certainly know what's coming out of the NCAA, and we can certainly see the decisions come from the NCAA for everyone to see. So I just don't know. Somebody show me the lenient decision from the NCAA as of late. So it doesn't exist. Like, show me the one where it's like, oh yeah, this and that, and because I'd like to see it. Like, if that's true, and certainly show me the one where you've got aggravated circumstances, where you've got repeat offender, where you've got non-compliant, where you've got non-self-reported, where you've got destruction of evidence, where you've got multi-year, where you've got a full-time staffer of Michigan on the sideline of another team stealing signs of Michigan. I mean, it's just crazy to think that this is the killing fields right now in terms of what the NCAA is doing. And I just like I said, not that I needed any more evidence, not that I needed another data point, but when I see this, I'm just like, I truly do not understand what they're seeing that would fill them with confidence or that would give them any type of solace that something terrible isn't about to happen to them.
Yeah, I don't know, as a fan of that team, the team up north. I don't know how you can listen to some of these other YouTubers, their fan bases YouTube, or read their articles or read their message boards, and then in turn read these things about Memphis and Arizona State and Tennessee and not connect those dots that, hey, what we did was way worse. Now, the Memphis thing, what I read is they did have a failure to cooperate because that failure to cooperate was because it just didn't get reported right when the coach knew about it. That's what I read there. So I didn't verify that by reading it from multiple sources, but one article I read said they gave them failure to cooperate simply because the coach did not report it when they found out about it. Now let's look at the other side of this equation. You got, I mean, hard drives being taken. You got lying to the NCAA. You got deleting text messages. You got all this cover up stuff that's attempting to be done. So to me, man, it just honestly blows my mind. This is beyond, it's just beyond a rivalry at this point in time. This is like very obvious college football stuff. I don't know how you can sit here and if you're a person that's going to watch and listen to what me and Nevada are saying and say, well, they're only saying that because they're Ohio State fans. I got something to tell you, man. Go look for yourself. Go look up the research for yourself. Nevada has some inside sources at the NCAA that has privied him and scooped to some information that is not public. And that's mainly just like feelings that are going on inside the NCAA. But the rest of it, go look for yourself. This Memphis thing, this Fordham thing, this Arizona State thing, this is not secret inside information that we're gathering from sources. This is known. And you can see what Scum is doing. They're going above and beyond to try to keep their fan base calm, right? To try to take their mind off of it and certain people reporting certain things, and they keep moving the goalpost every single time. That's just what they do. So it's just so wild to me that like as a clear thinking human being, you can look at these things going on, the punishments being handed out, seeing what these other teams did to get these punishments, and then go look at the facts. Go read the Big Ten letter, and that will tell you the facts that the NCAA has. Go listen to Justin Spiro. He will tell you he's turned things in himself. So he knows the NCAA has certain aspects of this investigation that in itself, just that one aspect is worse than the one aspect that Memphis did. And they had 20 some games vacated from their record. So if you're going to sit here and act like no games are going to be vacated and all this, whatever you got to tell yourself, man, just go look at this right here. I mean, you know, cheating on a test, that doesn't affect that's not an on-field advantage. Buying tickets to recruits now in the sense of, yeah, you're letting that player play and all that, but I mean, they're not stealing signs and going out and and having that type of advantage. So this whole thing, we know what it is. This isn't anything new. Then you add on top of all this, Nevada, all these extra things, and you don't talk about it a bunch because it doesn't involve football. When you look at the University of Scott and everything that has been attached to that university, the hockey stuff, the basketball stuff, the harboring terrorists, the science people, and now that university is also being investigated for foreign gifts, um, like something with the way they report it. They're being investigated for it. I'm not going to speak on that too much, other than I know that the federal government is investigating them because there's like $180 million that doesn't add up, that got reported late or something like that. So, I mean, you look at all these things, put it all in the one, and every single step along the way, there's never been no no taking responsibility for what you're doing or anything. It's just, let's keep moving the goalpost. Well, yeah, but look what this team. Well, Ohio State cheats. Well, this cheats. Well, this. It's just like, dude, go look at the information yourself. And if you are a clear thinking human being, your logic is going to be that they are screwed.
Well, and you didn't even mention the Matt Weiss investigation. No, we didn't talk about the Alex Yude pedophile thing, or the Matt Weiss, largest, whatever you want to call that, scandal. I mean, that's going to make these other that's going to be $1 billion settlement or whatever that thing that they're going to be facing. So they're going to get ramrodded on that. But it's funny, the Michigan people keep trying to go back to the fact that you only get vacated games or whatever it is for ineligible players or whatever it is. It's because nothing like this has ever been adjudicated before by the NCAA. I can't remember in my life of following football ever a team attempting to cheat on the field. Like I don't remember that ever being a thing. So, but I would submit that using an ineligible player, if you used an ineligible player, that's kind of on-field cheating. That's cheating on the field by using a player that's not eligible or whatever it is. It's just a different form of it.
Yep.
This is just more blatant, more in your face, and more strapped up in terms of, hey, we're just gonna, the heck with the rules. We're not doing this. We're not doing that. We're just gonna go and blatantly violate the sportsmanship policy, the ethics act, about 19 different things that really kind of make sports, you're right and good. And I think that's what makes this whole thing so offensive, is that, it doesn't seem like the Michigan people really can recognize kind of the gravity of this whole thing. It's like they think it's some sort of big joke, or that somehow they were more clever and they got over. Or, I mean, you just had Isaiah Holt saying the other day, it's not clear that having Stallion's mother at games recording is a violation. And it's like, dude,
Yeah.
like that's what you're selling. That's what you're hanging your hat on, is that if you use a third party, the rules don't apply. Like, dude, like that can't that can't be what you're doing. But yeah, no, when I saw this thing come out today, I was just like, I mean, wow. Not that I need it anymore, but um, it's been crazy because the NCAA, this is a decided change for the NCAA, because there was a period of time when the NCAA was being lenient. And I pointed out that it was under a different system. The NCAA had this different outside board that they would handle appeals to, and they were being very. I'm using the word liberal, not in the term of conservative and liberal. It's not a political statement, but they were just being more liberal in terms of their readings on things, and they were letting teams get away with murder. And the NCAA did away with that. So that system is no longer in place. And so, if we were living in that world right now, and looking at things and looking at Illinois basketball or whatever it was and saying, wow, these things seem really lenient, Devin. I'm not sure. Maybe Michigan's right. Maybe they are going to get the fruit basket. And it's like, no, but that's not what's happening. The NCAA is fighting for their very existence. That isn't hyperbole. Again, anybody with a functioning brain realizes that the NCAA realizes that their days are numbered in terms of this new super conference and what's going on. What is their role in this brave new world of college sports? Well, it's enforcement. And if they can't do enforcement, then they have no right to exist. That big building in Indianapolis has got to go away. All their jobs got to go away. They're fighting for their very survival right now. And so what are they doing? They're crushing programs. They're just beating fools right now, left and right. And Michigan, bad time. Wrong place, wrong time, wrong offense, wrong everything. They got it, but I do not see, and it would be totally inconsistent with everything I've heard and everything we've seen for Michigan to get anything but the hammer in sideways twice and 10 times. But that's how I see it.
Yeah, that cracked me up, man. I was about to bring up the same thing. So the TCU coach says his things, and then everybody brings that up about how TCU stomped him in the ground, scored 51 points on him because they knew he had his signs. Well, Connor gets on X and tweets why, because they didn't take care of the ball and all this. It made himself look way more guilty. But it's so funny to watch the goalposts get moved and hear him say, well, it's really unclear with the NCAA on whether it's okay for Connor's mom to go video another team's signals or not. Essentially, is what he said. And it's just like, bro, say that again in slow motion, right? Or slower if you need to. I don't know. Translate it into Spanish. I don't know what you need to do. But say that again out loud, record it, play it back to yourself. And if you can manage to keep a straight face while listening to what you just said, I'll give you $100, dude, because that's just absolutely ridiculous. The NCAA makes it really unclear whether you're allowed to go to other teams' games and video their signals. Are we serious right now? Is this really what they're going after? it just it
That is
cracks me up, bro.
but Devin, that's their defense. And that's
I
literally
know.
that's the defense that they offered up to the NCAA. I mean, like that was their legal, that was the crux of their legal defense, is that it wasn't clear that if you use third parties, like we know staffers can't do it, but could you just use third parties and that makes it okay? Let alone the times that they said they did it 7 or 8 times, or what times they admitted doing it right there. Like, you did it 7 times. Even that, like, well, okay, well, we did it 7 times, but we didn't do it 53, even though we used Connor Stallion's mom for the other 46. Come on. Come on. I mean, it's just ridiculous. The whole thing is ridiculous.
It really is. Hey, folks, real fast, if you haven't hit that like button yet, hit that thing. If you're not subscribed to Scoop, subscribe now. If you're not subscribed to the Buckeye Boys, head on over to our channel, subscribe there as well. But back to it, man, because I'm not done yet, man. Connor Steins gets on there, he says what he says. And I don't know if you caught his response. He actually responded to some people one time, and they said, they posted a picture of him on the CMU sidelines, and he said, well, I can't wait to talk about that and explain like the truth behind it or whatever. It's just like, bro, you are a staff member on another football team. You're on another football team's sideline in a disguise. And here's the crux of kind of this whole thing is a lot of people want to argue. Well, first, the argument was, is that him or not? Now, that's just an absolute joke. You know what I mean? Gets on his Netflix documentary, and supposedly Connor's very talkative. So I heard that Connor got on there and on camera said it wasn't him, but he's too proud. Connor's a very proud person, really wants to make sure everybody knows how smart he is and all these things. That's extremely apparent. If you haven't watched the Netflix documentary, just go watch it. I mean, he loves himself a lot, which to each their own. But anyway, and behind the scenes when the camera got turned off, he was laughing with the director or somebody of the show about how that was him on the thing. And no wonder, who was it? Dave Portnoy got on there and said, yeah, Connor told me that was him on the sideline. Well, here's the other aspect of that is, like, whether you believe he was there helping steal signs for scum or not, he's a staff member of Harbaugh. He's a staff member of the University of Michigan. So the University of Michigan trusts Jim Harbaugh to do his job as the head coach and keep an eye on all your other coaches, right? So you're a Friday night, one of your coaches is gone. It's quite frankly your responsibility to know where the heck they're at. And if they're on the CMU sidelines in a disguise, being handed uniforms through gates on camera, I might add, that's an issue. That's a problem. That is a NCAA violation. And Dude, I still hear people giving the benefit of the doubt so many times in this because, there's proof for so much of it. And then you get to like a little gray area that connects other things into this investigation. But my question would be, since when do they deserve the benefit of the doubt? Like, what about this program makes them deserve the benefit of the doubt when they went and did it? I mean, man, go look at the spread numbers. Go look at his Jim Harbaugh's record before Connor Steins, after Connor Steins, the whole thing, man. So, at this point in time, if you can't go yourself and look at all the proof that they have, and then also all the punishments that the NCAA is handing out right now, and conclude that that program is screwed. Now, we can argue on what screwed means all we want all day long, but I promise you this, a 2-game suspension for Sharon Moore on the third and fourth games, that's not going to cut it. Nevada, in the chat, people, I think it's crazy that this is so confusing. It's so confusing because they have so many violations. They have so many investigations going on that people think that the punishment has already been handed down for the sign stealing. Any punishment that you have seen Scum have to this point in time officially handed down has nothing to do with the sign, the advanced scouting, the advanced scouting. The only thing I know that they have done for that is implement the 2-game show cause for a selected certain games. Am I correct in that, Nevada?
Yeah, that's 100% correct. Yeah, the only thing that's been, proactively done, which Michigan tried to do something proactive before the hearing. Like I think that was like 2 weeks before the hearing or a week before the hearing, saying we've done something to, we recognize that Sharon Moore destroyed evidence, so we're going to, suspend him for games 3 and 4. Which the idea that you would handpick the games to do just everything about that just it was completely inadequate. And the NCAA guys, they're not stupid. They look at that, and the guy that I talked to was like, that was so insulting that they would do something like that. And then to think that 2 games would be enough, and not even make them games 1 and 2, just shows that they're not taking this thing seriously. And I think that's the biggest thing. And so no, nothing has been, absolutely nothing has been handed down yet, other than the self-imposed suspensions of game 3 and 4 for Sharon Moore, which I am telling you is not going to be enough. Not when you're seeing this academic advisor get a 10-year show cause. Not when you're seeing, the coaches get suspended for the entire season. I mean, Sharon, I just don't know how he survives, because I think he'll get a minimum of a 1-year suspension and a multi-year show called 4 years, 6 years, 8 years, 10 years, whatever it's going to be. So I just don't know how you bring it back. I mean, because somebody else is, Poggi or Alford or somebody's gonna have to step in this year in terms of taking over for him. But I just don't see any way that Michigan, as a repeat offender, could bring back a coach after a year suspension that's on a multi-year show cause when he's already violated, or been a repeat offender for NCAA violations. I just don't see how it could possibly pass muster. But no, it is confusing because there are so many different aspects of this. And I think for the NCAA, people have to remember the NCAA's got very limited enforcement arm. The Big Ten has no investigative arm at all. So like anything that has to be done, they do it with very limited resources. But this is probably the best documented case that's ever been presented to the NCAA, because a lot of the work was done and presented to them as part of this third party investigation, um, that I might add was all from the Michigan side. This was all done. They were trying to blame Ryan Day's brother, or some sort of illegal hacking or whatever it was. No, this was all an inside job on Michigan. Yeah, there are people at Michigan, believe it or not, that don't like Ward Manuel, that don't like Jim Harbaugh, that do care about the reputation of the school at large, the law program, the medical center. Um, they don't like this stuff. So it's yeah, I think the only thing that's been surprising to me is how well they've been able to keep everybody in line. Nobody leaked the NOA. And think about that. That NOA came to them. What was that? Like last September, and they have. And so the day they got the NOA, they got hit with 500 Freedom of Information Act requests to see that thing, right? And we are still sitting here in July the next year, and nobody's gotten their hands on it. That I mean, that's another data point. What if it's so? If this is not that big of a deal, why did Michigan completely put the kibosh on sending this thing out and give this to anybody? Why did they do that? If this was no big deal, this is no big deal. You think they'd want it to be in wide circulation? I mean, they leaked selective portions of this to
Yep.
some of their people, and even that stuff was terrible. That stuff you read it and you're like, oh man, this is awful. I can't believe this is the stuff that they handpicked to handpick people to put them in the best possible light, and it was still horrible. So no, I like I said, I've been waiting for something to run counter to what I'm hearing, because a wise person told me a long time ago that he always reserved the right to change his mind based upon new information, and I always reserve the right to change my mind on this. If I heard different information, if I saw a different set of facts, a different fact pattern being presented right now, I would come right on, Devin, right now and say, I man, the NCAA is just not doing it. They're going the other way. They're going leniency. They're going stern warning. They're not really handing out punishment. But man, it is totally the opposite of that, and we're all getting a chance to see that with our own eyes.
Yeah. Just want to mention that the Memphis and the other thing that we're talked about tonight, as far as my information goes, these were agreed upon punishments. These didn't go all the way through a hearing as well. Nevada, is that the information you have? Do you have anything other than that? Unlike Scum, they're taking this all the way through the hearing. These punishments were agreed upon by both parties. Do you have anything other than that?
I don't know that to be fact, but I believe that to be fact. So,
Yeah,
but we can check that. We can check that on the NCAA dashboard when we get off to, because we like to be factual here. We're all about giving you guys facts. This is I don't like I said, so I don't 100% know that, but I believe what you said is the truth. I believe these, because it's so rare, Devin, to go to a full hearing. I'm just
yeah.
telling you, it rarely happens. So I believe these were negotiated settlements.
Yeah, for sure. Still a lot of people, right, in the chat wanting to know a timeline. I'll tell you the Fordham case I was telling you about, the buying the recruits tickets, that took 3 years, right, to happen. Now, the difference here, I don't think it's going to take that long, because you see the way the Big Ten and the NCAA expedited, as Nevada said, a punishment mid-season, which has never happened. That doesn't happen. So there is a sense of urgency here, as the Big Ten letter says, because it literally, the way that it affected player safety, it affected the games that were being played right at that moment. And Nevada, I was going to say, man, when you sit back, right, and you listen to all the responses here from the other side, the side that doesn't think that anything's going to happen. Now, you have one group of people that thinks they just don't trust the NCAA. That's fine. You cannot trust them if you want. But then you have the majority of that group, right, uses things like the statement said by, I believe it was who was it? The playoff guy that said fair and square, right? And they took that completely out of context. The interview with big old boy, what's his name? Who's the
Ward Manual.
athletic director? Yeah,
Ward
Ward
Manual.
Manual, of saying when asked if, and he said, well, I do want people to know that if rules were broken and we did something wrong, we're going to have to face the punishments for those things. And then the other game of only leaking certain amounts of the CO, whatever that letter was that got sent, only like this game that they're trying to play it reminds me of games I used to play in like grade school. You know what I mean? Like you can sit back, see the proof, see the evidence, see what's going on. And then what they try to throw out, that's not Connor Stallions. We won fair and square. They take half a quote, they take half an interview. Nothing's going to change. It's going to keep on happening until the hammer hits the road. And I just want people to know, right? I want you guys to know I believe the Natty's gone. I believe the Big Ten titles are gone. I believe a lot of their wins for that season are gone. I believe there's going to be a postseason bowl ban. And those are really, that's what I personally care about to be honest with you. But again, there's no way of knowing that. But Nevada, anything to add to this final? And I got just one more little tidbit on recruiting to talk about. Chat's blowing it up in the beginning, so we're going to just hit it real fast. But anything to add to this
Well,
charade?
just, I mean, the fact that, that Tony Petitti letter, the fact that Tony Petitti went to Michigan State the week of that game and said, like, you guys don't have to play this game because that's how serious he felt the transfer. I mean, they were going to let him out of the game because of what happened here. I mean, you know, this was not a little thing to him. This was something that was big enough that he felt that he could go to a school and cancel a football game over player safety issues, over unfair competition issues on this thing because it was so egregious. So yeah, when you combine that with the fact that the Central Michigan head coach lost his job over this, the offensive coordinator and quarterback coach Jake Cotton, he lost his job over this. They've gone to full hearing. The NCAA has been handing out all these. Like I said, I think when it comes down, it's gonna appear so clear to people, but the warning signs have been there all along, man. This isn't mysterious. This isn't a bolt from the blue. This isn't something that came out of nowhere. This isn't how could we possibly have foreseen this? It was really obvious all along, and you just chose to ignore it. That's my view on it.
Yeah. And just a fair warning, everybody, that's not going to change even when the NCAA hands down the punishment, even when the punishment is vacated this, vacated that, postseason bans. There's still going to be the large majority of that fan base is still going to cry. This is unfair. We got cheated. I wouldn't be surprised if somebody in the university come out and made an official statement that they think the NCAA really overreached here, but they're deciding to just accept it so they can move on and continue being champions, right? Quote that, write that down. That's probably what they're going to say. So just a fair warning there. Move on to something else. Little recruiting news, Nevada. We had a certain recruit from the state of Ohio, a safety, Jacob Weatherspoon. He flipped to North Carolina today. Kind of a big surprise out of nowhere on my end. I share your opinion with recruiting, Nevada, and I kind of know what you're going to say. And sharing that opinion with you, learning from the way that, I've always listened to Scoop and how they handle recruiting. There's a lot of football to be played, right, guys? There's a lot of recruiting left to be had. So he was the 167th ranked player in the nation. I was very excited to have him on the team. Ohio State was recruiting him for a corner. He's a safety in all the recruiting boards, but he was a corner for them. There's a long way to go, folks. Long way to go. If there's one a position group on this team that I am not even slightly a little bit concerned about, you got wide receiver and you got our safety defensive back room. And it is 5-star talented players galore, and it's going to continue to happen. One person leaves, with the transfer portal, if they can be convinced to go to a program like North Carolina over Ohio State, then it was going to happen in the portal anyway. It would have happened because he was a developmental piece of this program. He would have maybe seen the field in 3 to 4 years. So if it's that easy for somebody to flip, and I don't know the details of it, I'm not judging him or anything, but that's just the truth of the matter. Ohio State is not for everyone. So if a player is willingly going to leave after being committed he was one of the longest committed recruits we had in this class from the state of Ohio. I'm not tripping about it whatsoever. This is the Ohio State. The truth is, a coach could leave tomorrow. A player could leave tomorrow. How many times have we seen this happen in our fandom careers of coaches and players leaving that we thought we would never overcome? Well, I just want to remind you, I'll just remind you real fast. There we are. The Block O is bigger than any recruit, any coach, anything. It's just what it is. That's why we're the Ohio State, man. That's why we are who we are and we are where we're at. So going to be just fine. A long way to go. I know 0 for 3 on the corners from Ohio, the natural. I totally get it, man. It hurts. It sucks in the moment, but let's wait and see how it ends up. Nevada, got anything to add to that?
Yeah, I mean, you guys know I don't. care about any individual recruit. I still love the class. I just love the class, and
Yeah.
I think for the class, the way to evaluate the class, in my opinion, this is from 4 decades of having done this, is look at the average star ranking. Even though I'm not too hung up on star rankings, but I think a good indication is look at the average star ranking. If you're amongst the best in the country in average star ranking, then you're fine. If you're not, then that would be something that would be a data point. That'd be something to to talk about, to consider. But don't get hung up on how many points do we have, because that is strictly a function of class size. If somebody else recruits 26 guys and you recruit 18, they're going to have more points than you are because you're not recruiting a big class that time. So like I said, I think we've got quality up and down the class. As you said, the smartest thing you said, and you said a lot of smart things, but the smartest thing you said today was Ohio State's not for everybody. It's just not. And these things have a way of working out. And I wish Jacob the best. He can go to UNC, or look, you never know where the path, this long and winding road, may lead. It may lead him back to Ohio State. It may not, but either way, yes, the only room as packed as the wide receiver room at Ohio State is the defensive backfield. We have got players. We're gonna be okay. We'll be there. Hate to lose anybody. Sad to lose a kid from Ohio. Will we be okay? Yes, we'll be okay. And it just, when God closes one door, it opens another. So it just opens either more money, more opportunity, or more something for somebody else to join the program that really wants to be there for all the right reasons. And that's my opinion on it.
Yeah. You saw Devin Sanchez come out today and say something that we've heard several players that have come through Ohio State. Now they're stars in the NFL. They say the competition level in these Ohio State position rooms is unmatched. It's unlike any other, right? So, I mean, Devin Sanchez wrote a tweet today stating that, man, you know, you're trying to avoid your hometown schools or whatever. You're trying to avoid the competition. I don't tend to know anybody's reasoning for flipping. Quite frankly, I'm not too concerned about it, but I know that Ohio State is in good hands. There's a long way to go in this recruiting class, and like I've said on the Buckeye Boys channel several times, I'm in full support and full belief that the way Ohio State is handling their recruiting, their nil, their whole system is the way that I want them to do it. That's the aspect of the program they're gaining from that is culture, brotherhood. It's culture over currency, man. That's what they're doing. And I think, here sooner than later, believe it or not, we're going to see that Ohio State has made the correct choice in the way they're handling things. So, man, it's a good day to be a Buckeye, man. We're going to see our foes from up north go down smoke, and the NCAA keeps giving us little tidbits into the future of what we're about to see. Go do the research yourself. Look it up yourself. You don't even have to listen to us. Go look for yourself and find out what the truth is. Ohio State's going to be just fine on the recruiting trail. Nevada, any final words? Actually, got a couple super chats here. So before that, Nevada, we got the 4.99 from Karis. The team up north is Toast OH.
Oh,
That they
yeah.
are.
Yeah, they are toast. They are, look, they're toast. And there are people inside that program that know it. I'm telling you, like, because I talk to people up there. There are people on the admin side that know it's coming. So this is not going to be shocking to a lot of people on the admin side. I think to their fan base as a whole, yeah, it's probably going to be more stunning, and that's what makes it even more delicious.
Yeah, it absolutely does, man. Again, you're going to have a portion of their fan base that's not going to change the way they're responding to this, even when things get vacated and all that. And again, that's my stance. So I believe all that stuff is going to happen, but that's not going to change their response. We're not going to breathe easy because now they're going to agree with us and say we were right the whole time. I promise you that ain't happening. They're not coming out and saying, "Wow, Scoop really nailed this one. They're really good. They got it right." That ain't happening. They're going to twist it in whatever way to make themselves look like they're sitting on a pedestal that at this point in time is burning to the ground. But we appreciate everybody for watching. Appreciate you guys in the chat. Always support and appreciate the super chats, man. As you know, Scoop gives super chats, first responders, veterans. They go to help those. So we appreciate that support. Go check out the Scoop board. If you haven't done that already, Sean Rollins, thank you so much for the $20 super chat. Nevada, I can't remember if I asked you. Sorry, I'm asking you again. You got any final words, man? Sorry, dude, if I already asked you
No,
that.
no, it's look, we're one day closer to, Big Ten Media Day, one day closer to the start of fall camp. And I mean, I think we're talking about 45 days until Texas game or something like that. So,
Yeah.
I think in 46 we'd honor that thing, but 45, I think we gotta recognize that little known running back Archie Griffin at Ohio State, the great 45. And so in honor of 45 days in Archie Griffin, we're getting ready for Texas. I can't believe that we're going to be playing football in a month and a half. I mean, that is kind of wild. 'Cause it seems like yesterday you and I were chatting on the streets of Atlanta, getting ready to go in there, a little nervous,
Yeah.
excited but a little nervous because it just seemed too good to be true. You know what I'm saying? Going in there, but we were able to get it done, get that national championship. Now on your banner, 9-time national champ. Do you guys count 1971 on there on your national championship banner?
No, it's not on there.
Okay, good. Okay, good. Because that's a
Yeah.
bogus one. That's a bogus
Yeah.
one. I
It,
don't care. I
it
don't
ain't on there.
that. Okay, good. That one
What's
doesn't
that?
count.
What's that? A shared one or something? I don't have
No,
a.
what happened in 1971 was the Football Writers Association gave, I believe it's the Football Writers, gave their national championship before the bowl games. So they gave the national championship to Ohio State because they're undefeated. And then we went on December 1st or whatever it was, or excuse me, January 1st, 71, and played against Stanford. Played Vataha and Plunkett, Jim Plunkett to
Okay.
Randy Vataha, and got beat.
Mm,
So
mm.
for me, like that doesn't really count because it was kind of a twist in their system when they handed out that championship. But Ohio State still recognized it as a national championship, but not in the Nevada Buck book. I don't that one doesn't count.
You mean you're not going to count that towards our wins or anything? Like Scum, most of their all-time wins are from schools that they aren't even schools anymore, man. I read a list the other day. There was, I think, 71 of their wins in a 5-year span came from teams that combined in 5 years won one game, bro. Like I read that somewhere, dude. So
Yeah, they're really proud of those fielding point a minute Yost teams that they had back in the 1880s and stuff like that. But yeah, to me that's certainly less relevant than what's going on here. And yeah, I'm ready for Ohio State to get that rivalry back where it needs to be. But I'm confident now that I got the monkey off his back that's exactly where we're headed.
amen. We appreciate you guys for watching. And just a reminder, man, if the biggest thing you guys are worried about is losing a recruit from Ohio or anything recruiting relating, if that's the biggest issue we got going on in our football program right now, we're pretty blessed, man. Karis coming in with the 1999 at the last minute. Thank you so much. She said, I want my crown back. What you mean? We got the crown. We got the crown, right? Is that what you're talking about, Karis? National champs, baby. Anyway, we appreciate you guys. Tune in tomorrow for a show, probably 8:10. Nevada B. Moses, me and Mello will be on. If something changes, you'll see us on here. You all have a blessed night. Appreciate you for watching. OH. He did it again to me, everybody. IO.